at this article, back-to-back deaths of 7 Indian students leave the community shaken and worried. These articles, published in the Hindustan Times and the Times of India, tell the complete story of this mysterious death toll. The situation of Indian students is getting worse in the USA day by day, but this is just one page of the complete story. Today in this video, we are going to tell you the dark truth of Indian students in the USA. So let's start. Everyone in their undergrad or just out of it will at least once think about studying abroad. Whether it was for a better learning opportunity or a brighter career, studying abroad always had an unsaid aura attached to it. Also, it isn't anything new to us Indians, from the people who fought for our independence like Mahatma Gandhi and scholars like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar to much more contemporary celebrities like Ranveer Kapoor and politicians like Shashi Tharoor. A lot of Indians went abroad. Today, Indian students are studying in almost 80 countries across the globe. It is especially higher for the USA. In 2022 to 23, there was an increase of almost 35% in the number of Indian students in the USA. India surpassed China in the number of foreign students in the USA for the first time since 2009-10. As per reports, more than 260,000 students traveled to the USA in 2022 to 23 alone. Indian students are flocking to the US in enormous numbers. But why is that? Let's take a look at that from the student perspective first. The first reason is the quality of education. Not to take anything away from the Indian institutes, the USA certainly does have a superior educational system. So, it is no wonder students are flocking to the USA. America is a land of freedom that offers equal opportunities to anyone, and the American dream isn't exclusive to US citizens but to anyone willing to work for it. This promising future made many students in India aspire to have a better lifestyle outside of India. The term a better lifestyle is very subjective. It changes from one person to another, and the definition is very hard to tell. But to generalize this, we can say that many young people enjoy the privileges that a rich and a developed country like the USA can offer. It's not just about the USA and a future there. Our country has its problems, and they too are a reason for students leaving the country. India has the largest youth population in the world, but when it comes to providing opportunities for them, the country is falling short. There are several reasons for that, but it is not like the whole country has a bad education. We do have a world-class universities and colleges in India that are no less, but getting into these universities like the IITs and IIMs is nothing less than winning a lottery. Yeah, students work hard to study for these entrance exams, but every year, over 12 lakh people appear for the IIT entrance exam and just 11,000 are selected. The success ratio is less than 1%. So the rest who didn't make it explore universities and abroad. If we take a look at how many students are moving abroad for higher education, the recent study shows that 250,000 students are enrolled all across the USA and 3 lakh in Canada. The total number of students studying abroad is over 13 lakh. Of all these students, 38% are from the 4 states in India, namely Punjab, Maharashtra, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. All these students are spending an average of 32 lakh per year just in the form of tuition fee. Usually the student visa is given with a 1-year extension period, and it can last up to 3 years if the student is taking STEM courses. Also, there are courses that ensure a well-reputed job. Unlike India, which is a mixed economy, the USA is a capitalist economy. This means the whole idea of getting a government job doesn't apply there. Private individuals own all the companies, and there is no such thing as job security. But they are rewarded based on the talent and work they put into their job. India is one of the hardest working countries in the world, which is why many companies have Indian employees in the highest rank. According to a survey, almost 36% of scientists at NASA are Indians. Now that we have seen the brighter side, let's flip the coin and talk about the situation of Indians in the USA. Studying abroad is not as simple as it seems. A lot of Indian students abroad face more challenges daily than someone studying in India. The cultural differences between the USA and India is just too much. Indians have a tight-knit society, but this is not the case with the USA. People there tend to lead their lives alone and not dependent even on their family members. This makes the Indian students in the USA feel quite lonely. A lot of surveys point out that there is a rising number of depression and loneliness cases among Indian students in abroad. But the irony is that they spend much more than they can afford to go to USA and study. As I said before, an average student spends up to 32 lakh rupees per year, which is not a small amount. There are a lot of banks that offer student loans at low interest, but the majority of the students plan to repay them after landing a job. It sounds like a good plan until we factor the living expenses there. People tend to spend almost as much as they make. A small studio apartment in New York has a rent of $2,000 and $5,000 per month, which is very high even by the American standards. Even after they have completed the course and landed a job there, the story is not over. Once the student visa expires, students should think about getting H-1B visas to stay in the country. Now, this has turned out to be a huge problem. With over 2 lakh students in the USA, the majority of H-1B visas are backed by them. But with just 85,000 visas that are issued each year, it is almost like winning a lottery to get an H-1B visas. So, even after completing their studies, students have to go through a lot to stay in the country. Now let's talk about the biggest problem foreigners face in the USA: racism. Racism is very common in USA. With each passing day, it's growing rapidly. It is common in all sort of places. So even when an Indian student becomes a permanent resident there, he or she is considered as an outsider and they tend to live in constant fear and caution. Crime, murder, robberies, kidnappings, shootings, gang wars. Many of you think of these problems as happening only in poor countries. But what if I told you that we could be talking about the land of the American dream? Why are so many Americans killing each other? In 2020, murders in the United States went up by almost 30%. More people are getting away with murder and unsolved killings are at high record. More Americans are seeing the crime problems as serious. The United States has been one of the most violent developed countries in the world. It's a problem that never seems to go away. Activities connected to human trafficking are increasing. In fact, the number of people prosecuted for these crimes has nearly doubled since 2012. And the same is true for the sexual offenses. In almost every type of crime has reached its highest levels in at least the last 10 years. So, the big question is, what on earth is going on? Just in 2024, 7 Indian students were killed in USA. Since 2018, over 400 Indian students have died outside India and 36 of them were reported in the USA. The percentage of Indian students abroad is something a lot of people do not know and care about, but with millions of students staying there and moving every year, one must look into it. The core problem is the lack of opportunities in the country for all the youth. But we can't completely blame the government for that. A huge percentage of the youth in the India are unemployable even after getting a degree. So, we must focus on the roots of our educational system. It is more important to improve the skills of the child than to hand over a degree. There is No point in spending lakhs of rupees for a degree abroad when it is bankrupting you and your family back home. When it comes to the safety of Indian students abroad, the government must intervene and make sure our students are protected there. After all, students are spending a lot in the form of tuition fee and other expenses that are contributing a lot to the USA's economy. That's all for today, guys. Comment down below if you are a student studying in USA and have experienced any such problems, and keep watching Sossal.